We are going to look at infuselearning.com today and see how it can be used for formative assessment in the classroom. As you can see by the picture up in front of you here, Infuse Learning can be used on a desktop, laptop, can be used on a tablet, and with your phone. And the view is going to be the same no matter which one of those you are in. One thing I do want to point out, at this time Internet Explorer does not work with Infuse Learning, so you'll need to use Google Chrome, Firefox, or Safari. So in this case we're going to go ahead and use Google Chrome. So you can see here the teacher login takes you to teacher.infuselearning.com. The student login takes you to student.infuselearning.com. We're going to go ahead and sign in as teacher. It is a free account you'll have to set up. Once you've got that set up, you can enter your information, and we're going to go ahead and connect into the classroom. So a couple things I want to point out before we get started. There is this room ID that you see right here. So when a student is entering in, I'm going to actually enter in with my phone so that we can have a student on this example. They're going to go ahead and enter that ID, and then they're going to have to enter their name. And so depending on how you have the enrollment type set up, that may or may not work for that student. Right now we have it set to open. And in an open enrollment type, all the student needs is the room ID, and then they can put their name in. If we change the enrollment type to something else, for example, if I go ahead and change it to, I'll do to no homeroom here as an example, it's now going to show here are the two students that I have entered in here, but none of them are connected yet. And this kind of tells them what they have to do. But one thing they do have to do, if I have this set to enrollment type for a specific class, they not only have to enter a new room ID, because the room IDs are specific to that class, they also have to enter their name as it appears in my roster. So in this case, I'd have to do student 1, student 2. If they do not do that, then they will not be allowed to log in. So I'm actually going to go change this back to open enrollment just so I can go ahead and log in very simply here with one ID. So in this case I've got my code, and I'm going to go ahead and enter in my name. So as that's logging in, I'm going to go ahead and jump out to our main screen. And so as a teacher, I'm teaching class, but I want to get some quick formative assessment on what's happening in my room. I can just very quickly go to the quick assessment area, and I can choose from any of these different question types. So a lot of these are going to be very similar to ones you may have seen before, you know, the true, false, the multiple choices. I do want to show one that is unique to Infuse Learning, and that is the draw response. So I'm going to go ahead and choose draw response. And so what is going to happen now is students are actually going to get a set of drawing tools. Here it shows Bob is connected, but I actually kind of want to see what he's doing. So I'm going to very quickly make a drawing here. I'm going to just kind of make something here very quickly. I'm going to go ahead and submit that. I do have basic drawing tools. I've got pens. I have, it's a brush, and I can change the color of the brush. I can then, go back and I can erase or things of that nature. So my response should be coming in shortly. So here we go. So I put go. And so I see all of my different responses as they would come across. I could then go ahead, I could save these results if I need to save that, or I can just go ahead and move along. I can see what I need to see. I can make my instructional decision based on the drawings that I received. So that's just one of the question types, and all the other ones work exactly the same. If I were to ask, in this case, a multiple choice, on the screen, the student's going to basically see A, B, C, or D. Now in this case, I'm going to have those choices either written on the board, or I'm going to have to say them, and the student just chooses what they want, and then they go ahead and submit their answer. So again, I can kind of see here's a summary of the answers that are coming in, so it's waiting for my answer to come in right now. I can then go to details if I'm looking for more detailed responses. And again, it is waiting because I have bad connection. There we go. So you can see I entered A. I can also, tells me, okay, I had one student enter A. So that kind of gives you an idea. Again, we're doing this with just one student, so you're not going to see as many results. We can then save these results if we would like, and then we can go ahead and put a description on there and go ahead and save that if we need to do that. But again, many times in formative assessment, we just want to get an idea and we want to move on. So that is how you're going to use all of that quick assessment area. We then have the interactive tools, and with the interactive tools, we have the Infuse Draw. So what I might do here, and the cool thing I have is, again, I have here is my drawing template here. I can go ahead and choose a file, so I could send a picture, out, so I'll go ahead and do that. So let's say I have a diagram or something like that. In this case, they're getting a picture of me. And then I can go ahead and ask the question. So let's go ahead and ask a true, false, a multiple choice. I can have them draw on there, so I'll just go ahead and ask a multiple choice just to make it simple. And again, it's going to send that to their device, whether again it's the phone, PC, or the tablet, and then they can go ahead and respond back just like before. So for the sake of time, we've kind of seen what that looks like. I'm going to jump back to home. We also have Infuse Link. This allows me, if I want to put a link for all of my students to go to, so instead of students having to type in a big long address, I could have maybe copied and pasted it in here, and then so I could paste that big long address in, and then I could send that out to them, and it would go to their devices. They can click on it and open up that website. So more of a class management tool, not really an assessment tool there. So if we do want to do something more formalized with our quizzes, we do have our quiz management area, so I can go into my quizzes here. So if I want to create a new quiz, simply do that. So this is going to be test number 2. I can put in a description, test 2. I can shuffle the questions if I want to, or I don't have to do that. So I'm going to go and leave it off for now. I can choose to display results, and that would display whether they got the answer correct or not. So I could toggle that on or off. And I could go ahead and tag this if I want to tag this. For example, this is a math quiz. And so now I can go ahead and add some new questions on here. So I can select my question type, and you can see here we have all sorts of different choices that we can choose from. You will notice that we are missing the drawing one, so there is not a draw response on here, but you do have the ability to add an image if you want to have an image that goes along with your question. So I'm just going to say this is cool, and I can then mark correct, of course, and I can go ahead and submit. And so I've got my first question on there. I can add another question. I can take this question out. So in this case, just for the sake of time, we're good. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to turn that on, and then we can go ahead and just save. And so now that test is ready to go. So if I want to come back in later, I can edit that. If I want to go ahead and run the quiz, I can run it. If I want to share the quiz, I want to share it with my colleagues, I can go ahead and click share. Gives them a link. I can also email it to them. I could post it on Twitter, Facebook, or Pinterest. And so here you can see an example of a quiz that I've already done, and I could delete like this blank one here. Let's go ahead and delete that out. Are you sure? Yes, we'll go ahead and do that. So that quiz is gone. So that's the quiz manager. So I'm going to go ahead and hop back out of here. And that would be the same place again where I would also give that quiz. So if I jump back in, I want to give this quiz. I'm going to simply do run quiz. That quiz is now going to go out to those students who are logged in. So they would go ahead, take the quiz. I can, again, this is a self-paced, so students are going to take it at their own pace. All of the quizzes are. And so when I'm all finished, I can end the quiz, get the results. In our case, I didn't give us time to get any results, but I can have them emailed to me. I can also download those results right there, or I can go ahead and delete those results. So I'm going to jump back to home. If I want to go look at results from past quizzes, I can go to the quiz results area, and you can see I have those same choices. So I don't have to get the results right then. I can go back and get them later. In the class setup here, this is if I do want to set up those classes. I can go ahead and do that by simply adding a new class, and if I do that, I have to actually go in and then hand put everybody in here. So I go here. So I can go ahead, I want to click to edit, I want to add a new student, and you can see here is the information. You do have to obviously put in first and last name. You don't have to put in anything else if you do not want to. Now you may have noticed, and I'm going to go ahead and go back here, there is the import student, so you can upload a roster and they give you a template and some instructions on how to do that, which is really nice. So definitely a feature if you already have that list made, or you can pull it out of your student information system, you can quickly get that up there. And then again, if I want to see who's connected, I disconnected from my phone here, so you're not going to see anybody, but you can go ahead and do that. And then finally at the bottom here, you can obviously alter your preferences. There are certain things that you can set up. You can go ahead and, if we go to the Infuselearning community, it's actually going to take you, give you some ideas of how do I get started. They use something called a snap guide to kind of take you through, and they do have some troubleshooting things for you, and that opens up in a separate window. And finally, I'm going to go ahead and log off. And that is Infuselearning, and so I hope that you can use this in your classroom and find it useful for formative assessment.